Okay, welcome everyone. As we learn the Mishna Yomis for this Motzi Shabbos Kodesh, and we are finishing, believe it or not, the third parak of Sanhedin and starting already the fourth parak of Sanhedin. That's what happens when you learn every day. As we are sponsored by the Fisher family, who of course are going to start joining us again during the week. I mean, just because I wasn't well, that's not a reason for him to abscond. I mean, that would be like a treachery. Okay, we're holding in the third parak by Mishna Ches, sponsored by the Fisher family, Nishmas Basi Bas Rabbi, Shlomo ben Avram Alevi, Perel Bas Ruvain, and we're sponsored by Nishmas David ben Chaim, Lefu Shalem Efel Yom Moshe ben Chayesar, for the schus of Avram Yom ben Ishba Malki Yudis and family, by Yod Klugman and family, for the Parnas Gezunt and Nachas, Lefu Shalem for Moshe Meir ben Esther Fradel, and Meir ben Chayesar. Kol's man shemevi raya, whenever one of the witnesses brings additional proof, saiser asadin, we rescind the verdict and we reconvene. However, amrulai, if the Bezdin, they know he's a guy that always comes back, amrulai kol raya sheyesh lachave mikanat shloshim yom. All proofs that you have a month to bring it. If he finds it during the month of Saiser, he could dismantle the verdict. Time's up. Shimon Gamliel says that's not fair. What should he do that he didn't find the proof within 30 days? Similarly, if they say to him, bring witnesses, Amru Havaraya, bring proof. V'amar ein li raya. He says, I don't have any proof. Then ula'achazman hevi raya matzah edim. Afterwards, he brings proof or witnesses. The Tanakama says, Arizaina klum. He already declared he doesn't have it. It's nothing. Shimon Gamliel says, that's not fair. Amar Shimon Gamliel, ma yaseh zeh shelo yodea sheyesh lo edim. He didn't know that there were witnesses or matzah edim. Lo yodea sheyesh lo raya. He didn't know that there was proof or matzah raya. That's not fair. However, Reb Shimon Gamliel does agree in the following case. Amar lo have edim. They say to him, bring witnesses. And Amar, and he says emphatically, ein li edim. Have raya, bring proof. V'amar li ein li raya. And he says emphatically, I don't have proof. Then Rosh Badin, he sees where the wind is blowing. He sees that they're about to convict. All of a sudden, he says to somebody that's in the court, "Va'amar kirvu pleni v'ha'iduni, come so and testify." Or he takes a paper out of his money belt. Now, if he knew he had it, why did he say I don't have any proof? If he knew he had witnesses, why didn't he call them before? So that's very suspicious that really he didn't have witnesses. Really he didn't have witnesses. And just that these were false witnesses and false proof, and he figured he's going to use it if he needs to use it. Now, Mishnah Aleph in the fourth parak, Echad Dinei Mamanis, Ve'echad Dinei Nefashis, both monetary cases and capital crimes, Badrisha b'chakira, it needs both investigation and also analysis. Shenema mishpat echad yelachem. We'll see that we tone down the amount of investigation we do by monetary cases, because otherwise people wouldn't give loans. Shaloi tinel delos b'fnei lavin. But we'll talk about that. But ma bein dinei mamanis l'dinei nefashis. What's the difference between monetary cases and capital crimes? Dinei mamanis b'shleisha. Monetary cases have 3 judges. V'dinei nefashis, capital cases is b'esim b'shleisha. It's 23. Dinei mamanis paiskim bein l'schus bein l'chayv. We'll open the case whether with an argument for his benefit or for his guilt. But v'dinei nefashis, but in a capital crime, paiskim l'schus, we only open it up with an argument for innocence. V'ein paiskim l'chayv. We don't open up with an argument for guilt. Dinei mamanis matin al pi echad. Monetary cases are decided with a majority of one, bein l'schus, bein l'chayva, both for innocence and for guilt. V'dinei nefashis matin al pi echad l'schus, we decide innocence with a majority of one, but val pi shnayim l'chayva, we decide guilt with only a majority of two. Dinei mamanis ma'zirin bein l'schus, bein l'chayva. Monetary cases will reopen after the verdict, both for innocence and guilt. Dinei nefashis, once a verdict is issued, ma'zirin l'schus will only reopen the case if it's for his innocence. Ve'ein ma'zirin l'chayva, we won't reopen the case to decide he's guilty once we declared him innocent. Dinei mamanis hakol malamdin schus v'chayva. Monetary cases, everybody could argue both for his innocence and guilt, even the Talmidim that are sitting on the side of the court. Dinei nefashis, by a capital crime, hakol malamdin schus, everybody, even the Talmidim, could argue for his innocence. Ve'ein hakol malamdin chayva. Only the 23 judges could argue for his guilt. Dinei mamanis hamalamed chayva, a judge who seemed to be arguing the whole time for guilt, could switch and malamed schus, could argue for innocence. Malamed schus, and if he seems to be arguing for innocence, he could switch and malamed chayva. But dinei nefashis, by a capital case, hamalamed chayva, a judge that's arguing the whole time for his guilt, malamed schus, could switch and argue for his innocence. Aval malamed schus, but one who the whole time is arguing for his innocence, ein yachal la'azu l'lamed chayva. He cannot switch now, the last minute, and argue for his guilt. Dinei mamanis, monetary cases, done in bayayim, you could start the deliberation in the day, v'goyim b'layla. They could, however, issue the verdict even in the night. But dinei nefash is done in bayayim, v'goyim bayayim. Everything has to be done in the day. Dinei mamanis goyim bayayim, monetary case, they could make a decision on the day they open the case, bein l'schus, bein l'chayva, whether for innocence or guilt. Dinei nefashis is a capital case, goyim bayayim l'schus. They could make the decision on the day that they started if it's for innocence. But if it's for guilt, for execution, they have to wait at least overnight. Uv'yayim shala'achar l'chayva. And therefore they cannot start deliberating a capital case on Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov, because they have to wait for Shabbos or Yom Tov to make the verdict, and they can't issue a verdict on Shabbos or Yom Tov because then they would have to execute right away, and you can't execrate. And to delay would be inei adin, delaying judgment, and that's a great tsar. So therefore, lefikach ein donin, they don't open a case loy be'erev Shabbos, not on Erev Shabbos, v'loy be'erev Yom Tov. We want to thank you very much for joining us, and remind you, share tomorrow night at 8, Mesiba Siyam at 6:30 Monday afternoon. Have a freilich and Chanukah and a good Tavach.